8:50. I call the meeting back to order. All right, so now we need a discussion. School committee and town council strategic planning and requests for information. So if you guys, what are you guys gonna move up here or something like that? Or are you just gonna stay right where you are?
We can show. You want to set them up there or another seat? Get it up.
That makes sense.
Hold the chair if you want.
I can talk loud.
Who is it, Al?
Al, your band, and Steve.
Oh, Steve. And they're not coming back?
No,
Okay.
we're all set.
All right, they're all set. Jamie?
Yeah, I mean, through Mr. Chairman, to the council and the school committee members, this was put on one of the goals. I think the staff and working with the superintendent, we both kind of edited this throughout. This is just a strategic planning process, and I put it in the memo. This is kind of the decision point. We're either going to do this or not. It's okay if we don't. But I think there was some consensus to have some sort of visioning exercise. And again, we specifically wrote language to focus on community values, community principles, shared values, who are we, identity, rather than getting into a policy discussion about how to lay out all the policies. We've cited in here the district improvement plan for the schools, the master plan, open space plan, housing plan, community survey. I feel like at some point the community has given me a lot of input on a lot of issues, and I think they're slightly inputted out. It's like enough with the surveys. The redistricting process is also a huge community input process. I feel like voters have weighed in on where they want to go. And I think, but obviously there's been some division in the community, both over overrides, taxes, development, politics. It's referenced in here. And the document is to give bidding consultants a little bit of an overview of kind of where we're at, on both the positives as well as some of the negatives. And we've capped this at about $40,000 so that a consultant coming in knows this isn't a runaway train. I will also say, you can't be 5,000 or 10,000. I mean, that's like just an initial fee these days for a consulting firm. To be clear really quickly on the process, if approved tonight, the RFI would go out, the next couple days, and then strategies will then be, so there won't be any necessarily cost associated, but consultants will be required to provide the elected bodies what their approach is, what their experience is, how they would handle this kind of an exercise, what are their key features, what is their staff. And a lot of this comes down eventually to fit. But then the council and school committee would then choose, so say there was 6 bids, just hypothetically. The council and school committee would then choose 3 consultants that they thought were a good fit. And then we would get pricing from them, those 3, and then the lowest bidder would get it. So that's a way that we can try to hopefully contain the cost and try to focus on exactly what that is. And just to be also clear, if you get down to the process in another month and you see the bids come in and it doesn't feel like the right exercise, maybe the consultants aren't the right fit, maybe you decide in another month or 2, this isn't really where we want to go. There's no obligation that we have to sign a contract with any vendor. And even if that lowest bid comes in and you feel like it's not really what you wanted, there's no obligation at that point that you have to move forward. But I think we generally hopefully all agree that some of the division in the community might be benefited by trying to generate a very high level set of strategic values that this community holds. I, for one, listen to generally everybody, feels to me like, and I've had to take away that I don't know anybody in this community who has said to me ever, I want worse schools. I've never heard anybody tell me I want to downgrade public safety. I've never had anybody tell me to get rid of ball fields. I've never had anybody to tell me to get rid of the library. I've never had anybody tell me we want no nurse for seniors. So I've never had anybody ever say we want worse stuff. But yet still, I think we all agree there's something out there that hasn't quite gelled to bring us together. So I don't know if the superintendent wants to add anything on that, and we worked on this journey together.
No, go ahead, Lucas.
I would just echo what Jamie said. I think we have done a lot of public outreach in different ways to gather plans, both town and school, to provide information. I do think the idea of, I'm a huge proponent of how can we work together and come together as a community to solve, set the goals on the positive end, set goals that we share interest in achieving, and also trying to work through and resolve some of the issues that are out there within our community. I think that's a job that we all have. It's a responsibility, particularly for these groups and other boards and groups that we have in the town. And I think you hit it on the head, Jamie, around this idea of there's no financial commitment unless there's the choice to do so. So I think there's, it's about seeing what's out there and what can be done and how can people help us.
So we could we will interview all three of them or whatever it is.
You'll review, like if you get 6 or 7 bids, really interesting, kind of interesting parties. Like, there are consultants out there that do these. Pam, our procurement official, will send bid out to all the usual folks that do this work. They're not obligated to respond. They may say, well, this doesn't fit what we do, or there's not enough money, or whatever. We'll get some proposals back. The proposals will show what the methodology, approach, how they handle these things, what their experience is, who are the people that will do the work. And then y'all can take a look at all of them and then say, well, we'd like to interview, we'd like to get pricing from these 3 groups. And, provided that they come back with pricing, we put out bids for procurement, sometimes don't get bidders. That's just the reality of procurement. But I think there's a few organizations out there that would probably dive into this, because it's generally around civic and the work that they do. And then at that point in April or May, depending on the calendar, April 15th would probably be the prime night to look at those. The council would select and say, we want Acme 1, Acme 2, and Acme 3. Why don't we get pricing from them? And then the procurement Pam will then get pricing from them. It'll go to the lowest bidder. Come back to all of you probably in mid-May. And then you say, well, this group really nailed it. We want them. We want to do this. Let's do it. Or maybe things don't come back the way we planned. If there was a group that did come back that was the right fit, the right price, and the lowest bidder, you're looking at trying to wrap this up probably by the end of the calendar, maybe a little bit earlier than that, or probably around the holidays, guess, to do some stuff. Depends on what the process is. Depends on, there's a lot of what ifs, because you got to kind of leave a little room, in there. So.
Why don't we just go to the councilors right now? If there's any questions, Steve. How you feel?
Yeah, I'm in favor of it. Kind of love spending money we don't need to spend. I think that's part of our problem. But I'm going to kind of take a look and see what skills people are and what the outcome is going to be. I'm not crazy about the timeline. To me, speed is everything. We're waiting till the end of the year to have my final product, and then for us to work on something that think you can better and speed that up a little somehow. But conceptually, where we are right now to go solicit feedback from vendors, I don't have an issue with it.
Karen?
I'm also on board. With regard to the Council Mtg, I absolutely agree. We saw off on speed here quickly. But we don't know what the proposals are going to be, what they're going to suggest for us and things like that. We won't know anything until we get this RFI out. I did take a look before the session. It looks pretty, looks like a sound baseline for us to work with.
I support it. A couple things I just want to say, like, I think it's really important that we make sure that this is a joint effort between us as a school committee. I know that Jamie mentioned, like, oh, it'll come to us, and we'll take, I think if at all possible, and just see how we do this, that is, you know, both sides are being heard in that. It's not just one side saying, like this one. I also remember, and I'd love for you to confirm, when we first talked about this, we said the money was kind of already allocated for something. There was already, like, we were not pulling 35 or 40,000 from a pot that could be used or should be used somewhere else. You were saying we already had money set aside for something like this where we were using that. So could you just confirm? Thank you.
Yep, that's accurate. There was a capital account a few years ago approved by the council to do the additional phases of the marketing and branding project. The state grant paid for, I think, I might be, don't completely get me on this, but I think phase 1 and phase 2, and then phase 3 and phase 4, we took off the goal. So that capital account still exists, so there would be no new money out of the school budget or the town budget that would be needed for this. And so that money's already been set aside. So instead of using it for marketing and branding, continuing all that, we would replace with this project.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very much in favor of this. I was hesitant with the amount of money to use for something like that. And as long as we are making sure that this is a joint town effort and not just being, you know, kind of led by one side, then I support this.
Yeah, I would make sure that we would do this kind of thing when we pick them again too. Whenever we pick them, I would hope that you guys would come out, you know, and you all be supportive of all together.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of strategic planning. I think right now we need a sense of direction and a plan to move our town forward. And we need to get all the stakeholders and make sure we have the blind spots. One of the things I did see that was missing from the proposal, and I know you said the public is tired of giving their input, but you know, I got a survey with 150 people, they're still willing to do it. I think we need public input as part of this, in addition to, I don't think it should be the primary thing, but I think we should make sure we don't have any blind spots. So is there any language we could stick in here to say, you know, and members of the public, just so that, I mean, it could be up to them how they do it, but I just want to make sure we don't have any blind spots with how we are as an organization that we might not be aware of ourselves.
I'm happy to do that, Councilor Margello. There was some reference in here that I'm looking through at one point to that, but I'll add something in somewhere as I scan through this document and talk about something. You know, I think what you want to do is you want to get the consultants to tell you that. Right? How do they do this? But I also think with a limited amount of money, it's just my opinion, doing a massive outreach effort is going to cost a lot of money. So the question really is, especially after the election in November, you know, the blind spot is obviously honesty, trust, communication. It was very clear in the citizen satisfaction report. So I think that's really the issue that we have to hone in on. The community of the staff, elected officials. Why is there such a distrust? Why is there such a feeling of dishonesty? Why is there a feeling of miscommunication, communication issues? All that stuff, right? I mean, I think that's at the heart of, you know, if you got $40,000, you know, I think getting in there is part of that. I think the residents, my view at least, just one man's trash. Already spoken and said this is a problem. So I think unpackaging that onion and pulling back that layer and figuring out what those issues are is probably going to be the biggest value for the amount of money you've got there. Having a broader effort outreach is going to eat up a big piece of that pie. But the consultants will come back with that methodology. And if there's not a component of a public input piece that the council and school committee don't feel comfortable with, then maybe that's not one of the choice consultants to use. But they're going to have to break that down.
Well, maybe like an option for the consultants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay?
So you know I have something prepared, right? No, I'm all for it. I think we definitely should at least look into it and meet with them. We need a strategic plan, and we are definitely at a severe crossroad right now. I do think residents need to be more involved, and one resident worked, I believe, with Carrie and created a calculator that is now on the town site, so you can put in your address and you can see the breakdown of your taxes for your house and how much goes to every debt exclusion. There are people in this town that have knowledge that could help with some of these things and offset and work with people that work in the town, giving us ideas. It works. I think that we do have to work completely 100% together. And even if we don't agree on a topic, we have to be willing to listen to what the other one is saying. Because if you really listen, we're all agreeing. And I know because I listen to everybody, we are all saying the same things. We just have different ideas on how to get there. And when the override failed, I know I was an advocate for the no. And I made this statement then, and I'll make it now. Everybody in this town pays taxes. We're all floating down the same river, but we are not in the same boat. Some of us have motors, some of us are hoping the paddles don't float away. So we have to figure out how to work everybody so the people who are chasing the paddles aren't drowning now because now the boat has a hole in it. Why other people are just living their lives and saying, well, why is this a problem? We have to really listen if we want to fix what's broken. And I think like a mediating type program is really what's going to help bring us together. And I will keep saying the same things I've been saying last few years. I'm not against funding everybody that needs funding. I just need to be able to trust every dollar that's being spent. And if I can understand it, then I'll be more than happy to let everybody else know where I stand. But until all that, I think this mediation thing is kind of like almost like a last-ditch effort. If this doesn't work, I don't know if we're going to be able to bridge that divide. So we have to do this. I think it's not coming out of the operating budget. And for all the people who didn't like the marketing and the branding, we're going to use that money to bring the town together instead of changing all the marketing and the branding. And we're going to just leave everything as is. So we can be happy on that because I didn't like the marketing and branding. So I'm very thrilled with the money going this way today. And then
Feel the love just coming in. I do, James. I feel it. Do you feel it?
Jane, I was definitely against the rate. I didn't even like the guy.
This is one common group. Changing as a clarification, so the marketing isn't going away. We're just not spending more money
To do more. That's
the logo that was done and spent money on and approved and is already on a whole bunch of stuff.
Correct.
Despite Councilor DeLorco hating it. It is approved and moving forward, right? So, in all seriousness, I've spoken about this a couple of times in meetings. I strongly hope we can do this. I have advocated for it. I think it's a really great idea. My question to everybody is the very top of the document, to me, is divisive. Because to me, it separates us. Because we're not the town of Franklin and a school committee. We're just a town. Right, so I wonder if everybody would be okay. I think maybe a consultant would probably question why we were acting the way we're acting and why we have so many problems. But couldn't we just say town of Franklin on the top and in that paragraph say the town of Franklin municipal departments and Franklin Public Schools is requesting and then it just shows the word unified, as opposed to approaching this as two different bodies. That's my only, I read through the whole thing, only criticism of the document, because, you know, I think it just needs to be unified, and this, to me, is
To you guys, I will say I thank you for you did the emblems. And I hope you at least see like you know, our efforts to put the seals on that. But if you want to work with it and the group's comfortable with it, absolutely.
Well, why wouldn't we just do the town council school? Like those two bodies, it's not, you just start process.
Could do that too. That might
That's more.
Yeah, I just think if I'm receiving this information as a consultant, it's, the town of Frankfurt is looking to do a strategic plan, not two bodies trying to, if that makes sense.
I think the point is just similar to this, that would be, if we can be a little closer to say, school committee downtown.
Yeah, I mean, that was worded several times in there, that those two elected bodies working on the project. I just, we're sort of getting hung up on
Why don't we just, you all right with that, Paul?
Yeah, I support putting town council and school committee at the top, because I think, you know, given that Massachusetts separates our government in this way, that for a consultant to receive something that only said town of Franklin at the top, they might make other assumptions.
Yeah, right.
So if we're explicit that it's the council,
I think it was fine.
That's
School and I agree.
So do you agree?
Anybody else agree with that? Everybody all right?
Everybody okay with that? You guys all okay with it? Want to make sure we're all on the same page? Okay.
Okay. Gene.
Here's my analogy. A lot of times I have like a painting project, you know, and I can paint, and of course there's cost of any labor for painting, but sometimes it just never gets done, and sometimes you just have to go out and hire a painter, and great man, they do a great job, and the job gets done, and you're really happy about it, and that's the way I see this, is I think, you know, quick to have somebody professionally coming in here, brace together, work on a strategic plan with us, and help us get this over. And I think, I like the fact that it's time boxed to the end of December. I like the fact that it's the budget is set for it. So, you know, now we just have to find something to execute for us. But I definitely think I'd be able for this.
You can talk to my wife about that, because I'm going to keep the comedy to do four of those things. Go right down, Dave, you can come in.
I appreciate it. No, especially just to at least put out the statement of interest is fantastic. The fact that we're all in this room together, also kind of having conversations, kind of going back and forth, deliberating is terrific. And so I thank everybody for putting in the work to kind of make this happen. Because I know, Jane, you know, you and I, we spoke about all the overrides. We were both on the other side of the fence, but constantly talking to each other and listening to kind of understand where the other's coming from. And it's through that, you know, until we kind of talk about like having those two different parts up there, that's how we're all going to kind of come together to this one unified, you know, town of Franklin. And it's fantastic. I'm so thankful that we're all kind of on board on this. I do see from Councilor Malloy, kind of share kind of your comments though, just in terms of, one, I definitely want to see when everything kind of comes on back, what's like the direct impact. So when we are spending this tax dollars, I understand it was kind of allocated here, but it still is, you know, someone's tax dollars. Exactly kind of what kind of an investment specifically are we going to look to, and what's like that outcome that we're going to see? And if we are able to kind of speed that up just a little bit, I think that would be fantastic, just to kind of give more runway as we kind of go into the budget, and also before we know it, and we talk about like the elected officials and the bodies kind of coming together. We kind of look at this timeline before we know it. There's going to be times to pull papers and for new members to kind of come on board. And the sooner that we can kind of more clearly come together with a unified culture, I think it's just going to be more helpful as those new candidates kind of come on and look towards, you know, the next council and the next school committee as well. But otherwise, in and of itself, is fantastic, and I kind of look forward to working with all of you moving forward.
Thank you.
I also support this. I don't think there's any harm in gathering interest from the constituents.
I think many of us are probably strategists in our own ways, but we clearly have not come up with a solution yet. And I think unless we have some sort of mediation to be able to bring us all together, not just talk about doing this together, we're not going to make progress. So I support this.
I also sort of agree with Vice Chair that our having a clear outcome in mind, just a clearly defined goal for this process is going to be very important before we put the money on, because we want to make sure we get a clear return on our investment. So if that, it looks like that goal is like where do we allocate the money? How do we resolve the deficit? There are a lot of questions for going into that. But I look forward to working with you all. It was great to be here tonight. I usually work on tonight, so it's very fun to be here and get to see you all in person.
Yeah, so I appreciate y'all giving us a chance to be here and really, working together towards this. I think this overall concept really codifies a lot of what we all ran on, was trying to solve the problems that we're all dealing with and the things that we see. And as Nadia pointed out, bringing our own strategies kind of together. And I think I've heard that as an overarching theme when I was on town councilors tonight. And really gives us an opportunity to provide a tangible outcome for all that collaboration and an environment for us to do so. I think I've had an opportunity to speak to just about every one of you. At some point in time, I've seen y'all at school committee meetings. I know I watch y'all's meetings consistently. And I really look forward to the opportunity to be able to build on that and really working together. When it comes to the timeline, I do think that I understand the desire to really get going quickly. I would want to make sure that, as has been pointed out, let's make sure we know what the plan is. Have a very clear set of goals, walk through that discussion, and especially on the front end. And if it is taking us, the final outcome, it doesn't mean that we're not going to be doing things, we're not going to be discussing and working up until the end of this year. But I think if we look at that as an opportunity to close out what we've done, looking at that, essentially it's 12 months from when we all took our positions. We have had the opportunity to really look and see what we've got going on, and that's right in the window of when we start talking about what's coming. Right. So school committee, that's when we start doing our budget. We're going to get a lot of that running through. Y'all are closing out a lot of budget items, but then also already starting to plan for the next year. And then the bigger ideas, that is really a busy window of time. And I think it's a great way to kind of lean in, working together, making sure that we're all aligned as much as possible across the entire process, hearing all the different voices clearly, and I think giving everyone that opportunity, and being able to make sure that we can kind of quickly turn around and implement it. The timeline to actually get it started might take longer, but if we have things ready to go, we're all really well aligned, especially when we get into that next budget season where we are slightly offset. I think that is a great opportunity for us to quickly show what that outcome is going to be, and then we have that opportunity to work together. So I think it's a good idea, and look forward to being able to work with you on it.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate that too. So I totally am on board with this too. I mean, I've been saying it for a few years now that I don't know how to get it together. I don't know how to do it. I mean, you probably guys have heard me many times. Anybody knows how to do it? I don't know how to do it, so you might need to call somebody in. This was a great night. I appreciate it. This was really awesome that we all came together and we all worked together. I kind of feel your way, Councilman Malloy, a little bit. I know the end of the year I wish it was a little faster, but this is the way it goes. I agree with you, Paul, though, once we have everything in line and then we can steam forward, in a fast pace. But yeah, I'd like to take a look at it because the wheels are just spinning and we're going nowhere. So hopefully some guy can come in there and say, wow, boy, oh boy. And then we'll go, okay, let's go. That's what I'm hoping for. But anyway, yeah, I agree. And again, I really think all you guys can help
Mr. Chairman, so there is a vote to issue the RFI, and then the second piece is, which just I know this is technical, but it's the council issues it.
Yeah.
The procurement office and our procurement official works very closely with the school department. The other, if the school committee wants to take a ceremonial vote, I think that's great for you to do that, that's up to them. I will reference the town council school committee thing, do it, I'll make that change. I do agree that the structural budget deficit should probably be referenced in here, I just did a search, it's not, so if you guys are comfortable with that, I will throw that in here because I do think that is probably been at the center of the issue that a lot of people are talking about, and I'll reference the Councilor Martello's point, being clear in their proposals, what would be the ratio of public input versus, elected officials. Does that sound agreeable to most folks? Just a couple of weeks.
Did you mention the structural budget?
I do.
Yeah, under existing conditions, the first line in the section. I mean, it's like a quick one sentence.
Okay.
But you did mention it.
Okay.
And I say you also mentioned for the general public in that first paragraph. I don't know if we want to be more detailed than that because it's going to depend on what consultant.
We want them to brief. And to Councilwoman's point, if things get done earlier, great. But I think we've all hopefully been through these. You kind of let it. You need to. Everyone's got to let it out a little bit. Let it kind of breathe. You got to work with the individual. You can let it.
You don't want to rush.
You don't want to feel rushed. Because this is not going to be done by the time you vote on budget issue. So that's a key.
Just thinking too, it does reference the structural deficit. It does reference community input through some of the existing ways we've done it. I think any consultant that comes in, I hope, does their homework on Franklin prior to coming, so it's telling to see what they propose and what they say. When you do a job review and you interview someone and they start speaking about the company you're interviewing for, like, oh, they did their homework for you, you did a little bit of work to understand. So that might be information that could be valuable for evaluation purposes to reference it, but then make them do their homework to come in and prepare something just as far ahead.
100%. Thanks.
Just a quick question. When we do end up getting people that actually apply and stuff, we'll do like another co-joint type meeting, so like everybody's here when we're listening to them?
I think Councilor Callaway's trip, the bids will be in by the 10th.
Okay.
So you could review them on April 15th here. You could pick another date. I will have to be away for a short time, but you could do the May meeting for the budget. But I think the longer you wait, obviously, in the May and June, and you're running up against, then you're really starting to make things to somebody. So, I guess I'd ask you guys, do you want to do this at the April 15th meeting when the council already has a booked date, or do you want us to poll everybody to see if there's another date?
Oh, we have a book date, but we don't have an agenda yet, right?
I've got an idea of the other stuff that may be on that night. But I will say the previous week is the whole finance committee hearing. So, then it's school vacation. So it's tough. We're starting. I don't think anybody wants to wait till June, but
Will we already have people that apply? Right, April 15th, is that
April
right?
10th will be the deadline. So you can review them on the April 15th meeting, which will at least allow the school vacation holiday for us to get the pricing back.
What if we have a school committee host?
We could?
Yeah.
We
First
do,
the rules a little bit.
we do have built-in catering, so that's an option.
Is that different catering?
That's when you don't want for
Right. So you could do April 14th if all of you can make school committee meetings. I know they have a meeting on the 14th. Because we won't have bids back to April 10th.
Vacation.
It all depends on some meeting and budget. That's 2 weeks that week.
Point of information, it can also be virtual, like from our perspective. Like I understand it says a lot, but if it's getting together for a discussion, we can easily promote.
But James, we can change the agenda to the 15th. We don't have to put everything that we got on there on.
That's right.
Yeah, so we'll just switch it up. That's all.
If the problem with the 14th is that she is unavailable, and I know you don't need to attend, but wouldn't it just make sense to have it? I mean, if we know how you're feeling, or Because I feel like we should not ask every time the schools need to attend an extra meeting. And, you know, the problem is that Gina's already attending meetings on this vacation. You know, maybe it's our turn to let someone sit out. You know, I mean, that's my thought, is let them post one where we attend. I thought it was a really wonderful idea. I hand it over to them instead of asking them to attend 2 meetings in a row, back to back, and it inconveniences one or more of us.
The joint budget subcommittee meeting is also on the 16th.
You'll have 3 meetings.
That's what I'm saying, that's why he's on the joint committee, on my
We would as well.
There's a May 12th school committee meeting as well. I mean, it's a little bit longer, but it is after vacation. We could do May 12th. I mean, it's a little longer, but, you know, I think to Councilor's point, if you're trying to move it to a school committee meeting, I mean, everybody's got to be a little flexible here to cross-pollinate, right? And so you want to get it right. I think you want everybody's input. I don't think we want to leave a lot of people out. And so the May 12th meeting is the school, I'm just looking at the overall calendar. You know, it's a little longer to wait, but, you know, if it makes it more inclusive and it makes it so that people can go to a school committee meeting, but then all 9 of you, we're going to have to make sure you're available on May 12th.
I mean, I'm good with that, May 12th, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Max, Shane, Steve?
That May 12th is a school committee meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, and couldn't even ride because you don't have a car.
Yeah, you might buy that.
It's like karate, so I ain't getting out of there.
We'll fix it.
But I can absolutely be there. And I like it later because we're gonna have time to look at all the information.
That's what I was kind of thinking.
It is correct. You know, we would be able to get the proposals out in Google Drive to everybody. They can review them.
I think that's the better option.
That could probably work.
More time for the RFI deadline then, too?
Yeah, we could.
Instead of April 10th.
We could make it April 17th.
Give more time for more people to respond.
Absolutely.
When we, that sounds like a game plan. You guys good with that?
Do you want to make it April 17th or April 24th?
Whatever.
April 17th. April 17th is like the first school vacation. That gives everybody school vacation. Yeah, but it does give everybody, you're right, it does give everybody.
It gives us almost a
We'll
month.
change it to April 17th.
Almost a month to review everything, too.
Plenty of time to read through it all, and it will be, these things do come in dense formats.
Well, and in fairness, we want a really good consultant out there to have time. A really great. Instead of that.
Thank you.
So to be clear, the motion is going to be as amended?
Yes. There's only really 2 things, the date and the heading. Council.
And the public thing.
I haven't found it yet, but they said it was referenced in there, in the general public health guide.
You did say that again, right? Like you just didn't just decide.
Right.
No, I asked them.
We already are.
That was May 12th.
Yeah.
May 12th. You have anything like that? You have anything like that?
Yeah, so, resolution 26-16, approval request for statement of interest for the developing of a strategic plan. Clerk will read the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a point of clarification, somebody will have to signal to amend this when the date changes. This is Resolution 26-16, direction for issuance of a request for statements of interest for the development of a strategic plan. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Franklin, in partnership with the Franklin School Committee, has determined it to be in the public interest of the town administrator to release a request for statements of interest for development of a strategic plan. be it resolved that the town of Franklin, hereinafter referred to as town, acting by and through its town council, directs the town administrator to release a request for statements of interest for development of a strategic plan to be prepared and issued with responses due no later than Friday, April 10th, 2026. This resolution shall take effect according to the provisions of the town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
17.
Yeah, to move it.
Something has to
Oh,
be
motion.
My bad. I didn't get that.
To approve resolution 2617 as amended.
No, it's not amended.
It hasn't been amended yet.
Move to approve
Got it
resolution
this way, read it
2616.
second and then take a motion to amend the change.
I
Yes,
move to amend it, to,
Move resolution
yeah, I'm sorry, I lost track of the number. 2016, to amend the date to April 17th, and we're changing the top to say, Franklin Town Council and Franklin Schools Committee.
Second. All right, we've heard, the clerk read the resolution, and it is amended. So I have a motion on the field, on the, it's getting late. I get a motion, do I have a second? Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. All right,
Well, that's the motion to
Motion to approve resolution 2616 as amended.
Second. Discussion?
I would just ask maybe the town, the schools want to do a ceremonial vote with us. I don't know how to do that.
Whatever, whatever.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed as amended. That's good. You got it.
Congratulations.
If we just do a quick motion to adjourn while we have the mics. For the Franklin School Committee, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, so go ahead by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Please.
All right,
As long as you
Resolution 26-17, Town Council support of FY 27 state budget priorities. Clerk will read the...
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Resolution 26-17. The Town Council support of the FY 27 state budget priorities for the Town of Franklin. Whereas the Massachusetts State Legislature is preparing the fiscal year 2027 FY 27 budget, and whereas the Franklin Town Council desires to emphasize to the state legislature the importance to the town of Franklin of certain components of the FY 27 state budget priorities. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Council of the Town of Franklin that Number one, the Town Council hereby supports the FY 27 state budget priorities as follows. Priority 1, local aid, UGGA, and Chapter 70. Letter B, priority number 2, full funding of Student Opportunity Act or SOA, and funding of minimum aid increases of $150 per pupil. Letter C, priority number 3, Group Insurance Commission, otherwise known as GIC funding. Letter D, priority number 4, the Municipal Empowerment Act and Local Option Hotel Tax. And item number 2, The town council directs the town administrator to prepare and transmit a letter together with a copy of this resolution to the Massachusetts State Legislature, communicating the Franklin Town Council support for the FY27 state budget priorities for the town of Franklin. This resolution shall take effect according to the provisions of the town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2617.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion? Go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just hopeful that we would, some of these resolutions with regard to the state budget, we could, I mean, I know they're probably tired, could have had the school committee join us for those as well. Maybe just for future things.
Just through you, Mr. Chairman, they've written other letters. Actually, Lucas and I talked about this. We both wrote this letter here, then I think they did another one on both of these issues. I think they just did them a few weeks ago or something like that. So they've waited on their.
Thank you.
Okay. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on. Resolution 26-18, Town Council support for 84297, an act relative to the Lowell Mason Act to mandate a percentage of Chapter 70 funds for art education programs. Clerk will read the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is resolution 26-18. The town council support for pending legislation, House 4297, an act relative to the Lowell Mason Act to mandate a percentage of Chapter 70 funds for art education programs. Whereas the Massachusetts State Legislature has pending before it House Bill 4297 entitled an act relative to the Lowell Mason Act to mandate a percentage of Chapter 70 funds for art education programs. And whereas the members of the Franklin Town Council have examined the proposed legislation and believe the provisions of the proposed legislation to be in public interest and to support a well-rounded education for children. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Franklin hereby adopts this resolution, evidencing its support of an act relative to the Lowell Mason Act to mandate a percentage of Chapter 70 funds for arts education programs, and directs the Town Administrator to prepare and transmit a letter, together with a copy of this resolution, to the Massachusetts State Legislature, communicating the Franklin Town Council support for the pending legislation. This resolution shall take effect according to the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
I move to approve resolution 2618.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Just a reminder to sign the letter after the meeting.
I have two things. One is that I just want to point out, this is unclear because it was first, even when I did support this is based off of the foundational Chapter 70, which is the $68 million. So this is a $680,000, that's what 1% is. What is coming back. It's not the amount that comes to Franklin after, not the Chapter 70 amount that comes to Franklin after we have to pay them back. So this is the higher amount that the 1% is going to be based off of, which I just think is really critical that we know that this is. Also, I think we should send this to everyone in the Ways and Means Committee, not just the, not just our representatives. So do I need to make an amendment for that, or can we just copy them?
We can just copy them. We will, well, you got a couple of choices. We can add their name in and write it under there. Well, you really talk about House Ways and Means and or we can do a cover letter and just send those 30 or so lawmakers the letter as well. But we can amend it to put Senate Ways and Means and House Ways and Means under the CC. We'll just have to go upstairs when we're done and reprint out the sheet and send that around to sign. Which isn't a big deal. It's just everybody's got to stick around for a little while longer after we go to meeting to sign.
No, that's the one. Yeah, so I make a motion to amend to include the House and Senate Ways and Means Committees on a copy on this letter.
Second.
Okay. Discussion on the amendment. Okay. All in favor as a resolution?
Sorry.
No, wait.
On the amendment, what's the benefit of citizen needs? I guess, wouldn't they?
The school committee has already heard back from members on the Ways and Means Committees, so they sent out theirs, and people were saying, thank you for voicing your support.
In that case,
All right, so,
I need to be clear what the language is being changed, I'm sorry.
Under the CC,
Right now,
just put House Ways and Means and Senate Ways and Means.
Oh, that's,
Here.
I don't think that matters.
It simply says Massachusetts State Legislature in the bylaw.
No, the resolution's fine. She's just saying that she wants to amend the letter. Is that correct?
Yes.
So we don't need to vote to amend it.
We just need to change
Whoever made the motion will amend, whoever seconded, since it withdraw.
I would draw the motion.
I would call a second.
Now you're back to voting on the.
all right, so let's vote on resolution 26-18. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 26-19, request for special legislation, increase in local hotel and excise tax. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve resolution 2619.
second.
Discussion? Okay, all in favor of resolution 26-19? Aye. Opposed? My father hated excise tax. I used to see him all the time. Oh my God, because that excise tax you're supposed to pay for mass bike. He used to say, we paid for that mass bike 17 times over, and they're still taking my tax money. Well, yeah, but I just meant to say excise tax. Regular, that excise tax. I was thinking of that when you were talking about the taxes. I was gonna bring that up, about the whole harmless thing. I was gonna bring it up, but. So we got future agenda items. Let's go right down the line.
None for me, sir. Thank you.
Max?
I'd like to put forward, as Representative Roy recommended, a resolution proposing changes to hold harmless the next joint meeting of the school committee.
Jane?
Nothing.
Nothing, sir.
That's it for me.
Nothing for me. So I guess I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
We are now producing this in collaboration with Franklin TV and Franklin Public Radio. This podcast is my public service effort for Franklin, but we can't do it alone. We can always use your help. How can you help? If you can use the information that you find here, please tell your friends and neighbors. If you don't like something here, please let me know. Through this feedback loop, we can continue to make improvements. And I thank you for listening. For additional information, please visit franklinmatters.org. If you have questions or comments, you can reach me directly at suresteve@gmail.com. The music for the intro and exit was provided by Michael Clark and the group East of Shirley. The piece is titled Ernesto Mañana, copyright Michael Clark and Tin Type Tunes in 2008, and used with their permission. I hope you enjoy. By the way, you can also subscribe and listen to Franklin Matters Radio on your favorite podcast app. Search in podcasts for Franklin Matters.